time you couldn't stand the pain. You paid my handshake. My sweet such sweet my sweet
.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Such Sweet Angels by today's guest, Glenn Patscha. Let me get him on the line with us. Glenn, you with me?
I sure am.
Oh, wonderful. Good way to start. Thanks so much for being here today. I want to talk about what we just heard, but let me just do a brief introduction, if I may, to the listeners here of LocalMotion. I'll start off by saying singer-songwriter and keyboardist Glenn Patscha has worked with a wide array of musicians. He just finished a tour with the band Olabelle. He currently tours with Bonnie Raitt and Mark Cohen. Glenn can be heard on Bonnie Raitt's 2023 Grammy Song of the Year, Just Like That. He's also toured with Ry Cooder, Roseanne Cash, and Sheryl Crow. Glenn also composes for film and is a producer. He's currently working on an instrumental jazz record. And with that, a warm welcome to LocalMotion, Glenn Patscha.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. As we said, you just finished this amazing tour with Olabelle. Unfortunately, of course, the show I was supposed to go see you at, there were like tornado warnings at Caramore. So unfortunately, that was canceled. So, yeah, hopefully at some point you'll make that up. I know you all individually have such busy schedules.
Yeah, that's the plan, is to find a date that works for everybody and get back there. We all love Caramore. It's such a beautiful place. So whatever we can do to make that happen again, we will.
Wonderful. Good to hear. Yes, and I will be there. Let's delve in deep. I always go, this is your life, to my guests. So you're from Winnebago, Canada, yes?
I'm from, actually, Winnipeg. Yeah.
Oh, Winnipeg.
From Winnipeg.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Winnipeg, Manitoba. That's so I was a prairie boy. Yeah.
Oh, wow, nice. Now, I always love to learn how people got introduced or their start in music. And from what I'm understanding, you started to play piano at the age of 4?
Yeah, my mother, I played piano and organ. My mother was a beautiful organ player, and she just played by ear and played songs off the radio and just tried to learn whatever she wanted to. So that's the way I learned how to play music. I just sat on her lap and picked out tunes, and it never felt like music instruction. It's just something we did to play. So that was kind of my introduction to music, yeah.
Wow, and that young of an age, I mean, that's really young, 4.
Yeah, it's something that I just always really gravitated towards, and I never had to be pushed towards it. It was just the thing that made me happy. So I just was lucky that we had an organ, and I just did it. I loved lots of other things. I played a lot of hockey as a boy, and I was very athletic, but the music thing just seemed to be the constant that kind of carried through my whole childhood.
Did you have music in school?
I did, but, it's funny. I have a very strange relationship with music and music education. I actually really like to talk about it because when I was a boy, reading music was always quite difficult for me because I was a little bit, I have a little bit of dyslexia going on. And it kind of comes out with reading music where when I see ledger lines above this and below the staffs, it almost appears like notes levitate between those ledger lines. So it was always very tricky for me to read as a child. And even though I was involved in music and I was getting quite good at a young age, when I would run into music education situations, a lot of times they wouldn't even have me along because I wasn't a good reader. So I wasn't allowed in a lot of the bands in my high school until there was a music teacher named Mr. Cianfloni who understood something more than just reading music. So, yeah, it was always a little bit of a trip with me wanting to play music and getting involved in schools.
Hmm. I have talked to, I don't know, 400. I've hosted over 400 shows, and when I ask that question about music in school, there's almost always one person that believed in that person, and it's great that you remember
Yeah,
their name, and yeah, that's all you need sometimes. It's just that one person.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
luckily, I always had my parents who were incredibly supportive of my playing music. Never questioned it. They just saw it's what I loved. They were smart enough to not try to go over the top with it and push me, because if they would have pushed me, I think I would have pushed in the other direction and
Hmm.
probably gone away from music. So they were very they parented me very well in that way. They're very
That's.
insightful.
Did you ever play any other instruments?
I did. I played alto saxophone, and I play a little bit of guitar and some other woodwinds, but nowhere near with the capacity that I have on keyboard instruments.
Right, right. And then you, at the age of 18, moved down to one of the greatest musical cities I know of in this country. You moved down to New
Yeah.
Orleans. Tell me about getting that jazz scholarship and how did that happen?
That was another interesting story because it was actually a result of McGill University. I had an interesting experience. When I was 18, I won with some friends of mine. We won a battle of the bands and got a Warner Brothers record contract out of Winnipeg.
Wow.
And as that kind of unfolded, I was supposed to be going to McGill to go study jazz studies. And so we got this battle of the bands and the record deal. And over the ensuing months, I didn't go to school. And it turned out this record deal was a giant fraud. So
Oh, man.
started me looking in other directions. And I tried to go back to McGill. And they just flat out rejected me and sent me kind of a nasty letter, actually, that I still think about. But luckily, my response was practicing. And in that time following that, Wynton Marsalis came to Winnipeg. And Wynton Marsalis and Marcus Roberts were always so good with young musicians. They always took the time. So after the show, I went and met with Wynton and Marcus, and we wound up talking. And they gave me Ellis Marsalis' phone number.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I sent a cassette down because that's what we did in 1988.
Yep.
And Ellis luckily heard it, and I got a scholarship to go down to New Orleans and study at the University of New Orleans. And that was an incredible experience.
Oh, I can imagine. Now, how did that work for you? You were just saying earlier about reading the music. How about now at this age of 18 and getting the scholarship? How did that work?
At that point, I'd been composing a lot, so my reading had gotten better. I still wasn't a very quick reader, still struggling with a lot of the same issues. But with Ellis Marsalis and Harold Baptiste, they taught music from the way I liked to think about it and learn it, which is purely from the ear, everything else working outwards. So we would transcribe solos, we would transcribe songs, almost everything we learned. We used charts and wrote things out, but the ear was always first and foremost. So for me, that was just fantastic because that was what I did really well.
I can
And they really
imagine.
embraced that as the root of it all. So I really found my place when I went there.
How long were you there? 4 years or for school?
I kind of took my time to finish and took a few semesters off to play and tour. So I think it took me about 5 years to finish.
Right.
And then I stayed in New Orleans for another 5, and I, toured with a lot of different people out of there.
Like who?
And that's where I really started touring. I toured with Leroy Jones and Donald Harrison
Man.
and Jeremy Davenport and, lots of different people, Victor Goines and Nicholas Payton. And I used to have a group. It was, it was pretty golden time.
Yeah, I bet. I also saw you played with Brian Blade, and I'm just in awe of that guy.
Yeah, we met each other when we were 18 years old.
Wow.
And even at 18, I remember meeting Brian and going to his house. And, we were just trying to figure out how to leave our homes from wherever we came from. And we had mediocre apartments with no style. And I remember going to Brian's house and Brian had killings and beautiful artwork on the wall, and already at 18 knew where to get the best cup of coffee. So
Wow.
he always seemed like he was further down the road. He's a very old soul.
Yeah.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah, really incredibly talented. Every time I've seen him, I'm just in awe. He was just at the Saratoga Jazz Fest. I know you were there last year with
Yeah.
Bonnie. He was there this year with Nora Jones. And
Nice.
yeah, just always a special place to when you get to see him. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
hang a
he's
lot
a
on
generation.
did you hang a lot on Frenchman Street?
I did. Well, that was an interesting thing too, because when we were there, Frenchman Street was just beginning. So there was Snug Harbor, and there was Cafe Brazil, and Cafe Istanbul had been closed for a while. And, when we were there, we would go around to a lot of these places and ask if we could play music. So I remember when I believe it was Brian and Chris Thomas, I think it was palling around with them, and they asked if they could play music at Cafe Brazil. And slowly these places started popping up, and a lot of it was because the young musicians were just literally going to places and saying, let us play. How about we get a piano and we'll play, like Caldi's Coffee Shop. And before you knew it, Frenchman Street over the years became like an industry to itself.
Yeah.
So it was cool to be there for the beginning of that. I really loved being a small part of that. It was a thrill.
Oh, I bet. I went down to New Orleans, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something. And I didn't want to go for like a festival. I just wanted to go like what the locals do on a Tuesday night, and stayed right there, and just one place to the next venue, and just in awe of the quality and the caliber of the music, down there.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, this is what heavens is going to be like for me if there's such a thing. Something like Frenchman Street, man. It's
I think it's tough to explain, New Orleans and, certain things in New Orleans you just have to witness.
Mhm.
And the longer you're there, the more I feel like it almost changes your DNA.
Mhm.
The music is so deep, and it's so rooted in so many things and so many cultures, and it's such a big part of life that it's just a thrill to be around, and you never really recover in a good way.
In a good
you
way.
always have that with you. Yeah.
And it must be strange now, like when you're out on tour, if you're in New Orleans and you're going there, it must bring back a lot of memories for you. Good ones, I'm assuming.
Yeah. That was an incredible decade in my life. I love New Orleans, and I was ready to leave, and I was happy to leave, but not saying that's not a negative thing to say. I just was ready to move on and do some different things in my life. But every time I'm there, I love to see my friends, and it's still, I still have the thrill of turning a corner in New Orleans and seeing some detail that I've never seen, and that mix of both the incredibly ornate and the decrepit in one place it's a thrill to be there still.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can understand that for sure. So after New Orleans, that's when you moved up here to New York City?
I did. So in 99 or late 98, I can't remember, I moved to New York, and I moved because I was playing it with Marianne Faithfull at the time.
And how did you find her, or she find you?
I wound up playing on a record of hers called Vagabond Ways with Brian Blade and Chris Thomas. We were the rhythm section. That was produced by Mark Howard, Daniel Lanois' partner in crime for years. And I got to go out to California to the Teatro to do that record, and we had a ball. We had a great time with Marianne. And then, so Chris and I, after that, wound up being in her touring band. We did that for about 2 years.
Nice.
And that was a fantastic experience, as much for the music as for the people that were around. You never knew who was going to show up to a Marianne Faithfull show. So we were always meeting, interesting people all the time. And she had such great stories. It was a thrill to be around also, yeah.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Do you remember your first recording session?
My first recording session when I was young with that band that had won the Battle of the Bands. Part of that was we got to make a 5-song EP. Yeah. So that was when I was 18. And then after that, most of the recording I did, I was basically like the house guy at the studio in New Orleans called the Boiler Room.
Yeah.
And that was Mark Bingham's place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was there almost. I mean, I would hang out there all the time just because I like to watch Mark work. And so I did a ton of recording there at the Boiler Room. So much I actually can't even remember when it really started.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sure is.
yeah.
I learned so much.
Yeah, after that for sure. And then Marianne Faithful, again, the stories must have been amazing. And then what happened? Ola Bell?
Yeah, so then I had met Amy down in New Orleans. She was spending some time down there because Levon had a club down there.
Yep.
And so, I'd go to the club, and my friend John Boutte, who I'd been also touring with, that you might know him because he sang the theme to Treme, the show, and he's a wonderful singer from New Orleans.
Yeah.
And John and I were playing a lot, and he kept on saying, "You got to meet Amy Helm. You got to meet Amy Helm." So finally we met, and we kind of just hit it off right away, and we became pretty fast friends. And, I think the club ended, and then a few months later, she went back to New York. And when I moved to New York, I looked her up, and we got together, and we tried to write some songs. And we would say over and over again, wouldn't it be fun to have a family band, like a band where everybody sang, kind of like the band, where everybody contributed. And that was the kind of the kernel of where the whole Ola Bell idea started.
Wow, that's so cool. And the members of Ola Bell, just you guys, just did like 5 shows, a kind of a mini tour. And to get back together now, each one of you, since you started, obviously are in all different directions, all different musical styles and everything. And it must be like old home week when you have gotten back together, yeah?
It sure is. I mean, we love each other very much, and we've been through it all as friends in a band, and having a collective is a very challenging thing. And I think it shows the strength of our love for each other, that we can reconvene and it can still be so strong. And it's just so great to laugh with everybody and feel that feeling of just playing music with freedom.
Right.
The spirit is freedom. We have arrangements, but every night people play and sing what they feel and what they hear. And I think that's probably why a lot of people are very moved by that band, because it's very spontaneous and you never hear the same show twice.
I love that, kind of like the Grateful Dead.
Very much, very much. It has a fluidity to it that makes it fun, even for me to be a fan of, to listen to after. I forget about things really quickly because it's so fast moving.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's fun to listen to again.
Do you guys record your shows? Did you record this the last little tour that you did?
I think the show from the Kennedy Center was, I think that might be online if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
And a friend of ours bootlegged the last one, so hopefully we'll have that available to hear at some point.
Nice.
But yeah, we try to sketch it down as much as we can, and we have a lot of friends who are tapers, so when they're around, we try to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, most of them are recorded.
That's really cool. Do you guys have any plans on future recordings together as a band?
We do, actually. We started a recording in January.
Beautiful.
And we basically wrote the record together in about 4 or 5 days. We all came in with starts and then wrote it all together and then recorded it all in in about a week period.
Wow.
And went back to it a little bit in March to keep on chipping away at it. And I can, from my perspective, not because it's new, but just because the way the thing is making me feeling, and with my experience, I can by far say this is the best thing we've done so far. I think it really reflects us, who and where we are in this moment. I think it's a very powerful record, so I'm excited to get that out in the world.
Yeah, when might that happen?
Hopefully early next year.
Mm-hmm.
We only have tiny pieces to finish arranging, and then the mixing and mastering will start, and we'll try to find a good home for it.
Yeah.
And there's been lots of interest, luckily, so we just have to choose where we want to do that, and hopefully this will be out in maybe February, March. I would say it would be an optimistic date.
Nice. Excited. I'm looking forward to hearing that. And very, very cool. Yeah. So Ola Bell happens, and then you guys go into all these different different areas. You all go have these careers that are pretty stellar. talk to me what happened with you after Ola Bell. You've recorded with Rye. Of course, Bonnie's been recent, but Mark, Ryan Adams, Sheryl Crow, Willie Nelson. Hello. Talk about some of these people. And I always love hearing how it happened. Like you talk to somebody, talk about a little bit about who you've performed with and recorded with.
Yeah, I think there were a number of recordings that came out of our involvement with Ola Bell. I think, we all were side people, Amy included, even with her dad's band.
Yeah.
So we were all people who worked as musicians, and I think makes us it's a very different thing when you have a whole band that has that experience. So we just kept on working, and we always loved to make music and make recordings. And in New York and the Lower East Side at that time, I just feel like that was a pretty golden time. And I don't think that's overselling it either. There was so much going on, so much recording. Ryan was around, Nora was around, Ola Bell, and just endless talents. Tony Shear and that whole scene. And man, it was I felt so fortunate to be there at that time. So a lot of those recordings came out of that. And I also think, when T-Bone Burnett put his stamp of approval on us, I think that opened up a lot of doors for all of us. It was very generous of him to do that. And to say that it had a huge impact on our lives would even be kind of minimizing it, because it really did. We had a stamp of approval after that. So we'd get called for more records. And, the Willie Nelson thing came out of Ryan Adams stuff. And, I work a lot with Hector Castillo, who's just my favorite engineer. I just think he's wonderful. And we do a lot of recordings with a lot of South American artists like Los Fabulosos Cadillacs. And, he's the one who I got to play with Roger Waters through him. And, the stuff just kind of, once you do it, if you do it 3 times, you're going to get 5 calls. If you do it 5 times, you get 20. It kind of there's an exponential component to it. So that's kind of how that all happens.
Like the domino effect. Talk to me a little bit about composing. When you started with that young also, how's that transpired for you over the years?
It's something that I genuinely love. I would love to do more film. Unfortunately, it's always tricky to juggle it with a touring life and a recording life. But I genuinely love working with film, especially when I know the filmmakers. It can be a little bit odd these days to do film scoring, but I have a really great relationship with a Finnish filmmaker named Ali Hapasalo, and I did a few films for her that I just absolutely adored. And, I do some documentaries here and there, and it's just something I love to do. I've always been a composer at heart, and I've always, in my spare time, I just have endless pieces of music on the go. So it kind of fits into my whole, my general work profile.
When you're on these long tours, weeks and sometimes months, are you able to compose there, or can you not separate that?
No, I definitely can. I mean, one of the things that I'm lucky on Bonnie's job, because we have quite a few days off. So when on my days off, I bought a cheap Yamaha piano, weighted piano, and I take it to my room.
Nice.
And I practice or I write, and that's been a wonderful addition to my life. It just helps me feel like I'm not just lost in some other job, and it keeps me connected to keeps the tendrils going to a lot of the stuff I have on the go. And I get to practice and try to get better at the things I want to work on. So that's been a real gift.
Yeah, I bet. And of course, Bonnie Raitt, wow. I don't know. I don't even have words for her. I think she's just a beautiful human being, never mind silly talented. But just every time I've seen her in concert, just the way she talks, it's like you're standing in her living room. And she's just so humble and so grateful, and introduces the band like many, many, many times. And I don't know, she's just salt of the earth. And
she's been able to keep to stay united with the gratefulness that she has for music and musicians. Yeah. She loves musicians, and she loves acknowledging musicians. You know, when it comes to sidemen, I mean, she's had some of the best sidemen of anybody, and the reason is because people want to work with her because she is that person.
Yeah.
I'm for me it was for Duke Levine and I were both the new members. I think both of us still have to pinch ourselves because we're even away from Bonnie. I'm working for her. I'm a huge fan. When we used to open up for her with Mark Cohn, I watched every single show, every stitch of it. And Mike Finnegan is still one of my favorite organists that ever walked this planet. He was incredible, and his voice was incredible. So it's a hard job to take after somebody like Mike Finnegan. It definitely messes with your head. That's like joining the Lakers after Kobe Bryant,
Right,
or
sure. Sure.
It's tough to fill a giant shoes. And then Cleary was before that, so it's a lot to take on. But you got to just be up for the task and be humble and try to do your best.
But Glenn, what does that say about you? That Bonnie is just like, so she called you because you were playing with Mark, warming up, and then she loved your style and called. I mean, talk to me about that initial phone call and like what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the strangest things I've ever heard is when Bonnie Raitt calls you and tells you how much she loves your singing. that's kind of an odd scenario because I personally think she's probably the best singer I've ever heard. I mean, the combination of taste, soul, style, restraint, how rooted she is every night and every note. It's a trip to get a call from somebody like that. I still have to pinch myself.
Yeah, I have
pretty incredible.
No doubt. And but what a beautiful gift and what a great thing that you have. And you're such a lucky guy. Obviously, super talented. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in that position. I remember last time I saw your band with Bonnie, I think it was up at Albany at the Palace just a few months back. And the bass player's been with her for like 40 years or something?
Yeah, I think Hutch started in 1983, if I'm not mistaken,
wow.
Or 84.
Yeah.
And Ricky's been there for a long time, too.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, is to be able to get to play with people who have played together that long. It goes back to the whole family band thing. There's nothing like, you cannot replace putting in the time together. They've had that same conversation a million different ways, and it's just wonderful to be a part of.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Talk about recording with Bonnie. Of course, she was so great when I watched the Grammys in 2023. She just couldn't believe that she won. And just talk about the recording process with her, please.
Yeah, that was an enjoyable process. We did it in Sausalito in a studio we work at quite often, and it was just interesting to see the way she makes records. I mean, I like it because basically it's almost a live record with a few touches here and there, and that's the way Ola Bell makes records too. And I'm still of the theory that when you record together and you do things together, it's almost like piano strings that vibrate together, and you get a lot of information and soul that's shared between people. And it lends a lot of music a lot more gravity than it would have if it was just a series of overdubs in remote locations. So I love the way she made that record, and it's my favorite way to make records. And I'm a big proponent of people recording like that. There's nothing like it.
And it won a Grammy.
Yeah, that was a nice cherry on top.
Yeah, because she was up against some big hits. Were you at the Grammys?
No, I was at home, and I was watching it, and I had actually predicted it because I was just looking at the statistics of everything, and I think she won it because the people see something simple and good in what she did, and it wasn't diffuse, and it just turned out that was a really nice surprise.
Yeah, I loved watching it on TV too. It was just so great, and she was just so genuinely happy and surprised.
Yeah,
and
I mean, she was
beautiful.
Genuinely shocked.
Yes,
I mean, it was.
Yes, yeah. You heard her. You couldn't see it, but what she was like. WTF, really? Yeah. Like what? And speaking of Bonnie, we'll end on saying that I believe you're starting your tour again in September in Arizona with stops in California, Oregon, and Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice one.
Yeah.
Out west.
Beautiful. You're also working on an instrumental jazz album. This is solo
Yeah.
project, correct?
Yeah, another solo project. I'm going to put it together with some musicians. I now live in Nova Scotia, in the South Shore of Nova Scotia, which I absolutely adore. And I didn't know it, but there's just some unbelievable musicians here. And so we've been working on cooking up some projects. And so I've been writing, and I'm excited. And this will be more of an organ-based record. But yeah, so that's exciting. I'm going to try to record it in December and have that out soon after.
Very, very cool. Please, if you think of it, I'd love to spin it. So I'll
You
follow
got it.
and check it out and definitely give it a spin. You also, I adore these guys, the Holmes brothers. You've also produced
Yeah.
recordings for them. Wow.
Man, I loved those guys. I love those guys with all my heart.
Oh, yeah.
All my heart.
Yeah.
I just to get to know them and have them call me a friend, and man, that was I've been so lucky, and I'm grateful for all of these experiences, and I love those guys with all my heart.
Do you journal?
I've started working on a book.
Good.
A while ago, just because it's not all about music. I've also had kind of an interesting ride along the way. So, yeah, I'm going to touch on a lot of that stuff. And if nothing else, it's a book for my son and for friends or whatever. But that'll be fun.
Good. I'm glad you're doing that. It's quite the experiences you have. I want to end with also saying that you have a new band, or at least what I saw was new, the Big Bright.
Yeah, that's a project we started a while ago that we kind of do on the side with Fiona from Olabelle and Liz Tormans, who's unbelievably talented. And we made a record that I still listen to so much, and it's wound up in quite a few films and ads and things like that. We basically made chamber, quiet lullaby arrangements of 80s songs. And I mean, one of the things that I love to do is twist songs, like really take them so you hear them completely differently. And that's what we did on this. So it's basically almost like a lullaby record of 80s pop songs, which I still love that record. So we're going to make something new soon also.
Exciting. My goodness. GlennPatscha.com is people keep up with you on Instagram and all of that. Tell me a little bit about the tracks you sent before I let you go. We started the show off with Such Sweet Angels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah, that song is a special song to me. I wrote that for George Javori. George was an incredible drummer who played with a lot of people from Woodstock also. And he passed away around 2005, and he struggled with some mental illness and some addiction issues. And that song is all about George. He was one of the sweetest people, and I was just thinking about George, and that's all for George. And you can kind of always hear the influences on that point. There's a lot of arrangement influences from the band and the Beatles and stuff like that. So that's what that one was about. Yeah.
Now, you were just talking about having your own little twist on songs. You sent one of the tracks we'll listen to is "Walk Like an Egyptian."
Yeah, that's a fun one. I really like doing things so you hear a lyric differently. It's a song that you've heard 1,000 times, but then you change the arrangement. And you're like, oh, that means something different now.
Yeah,
so,
and you might listen to it
a
little deeper too, right? Because you're like,
exactly.
Yeah. And tell me about Rosalie.
Rosalie was a song. So that's from that record, Songs from the Jefferson Highway. Rosalie was originally inspired by a lady named Rosalie Baker, who was like the patron saint of all the young jazz musicians in New Orleans. And I didn't realize until I was older, Rosalie used to do PR for us, so all our gigs would get listed and people would show up. And when I was young, to be honest, I underappreciated all the things that she did. And as the years passed, I just couldn't believe. I thought about all these. She quietly operated for all these musicians and did all these things. And I always loved Rosalie. And so this song was loosely inspired by Rosalie, and it's So
nice.
that's for Rosalie.
Nice, that's cool. And Eleanor?
Eleanor's these are all inspired by people I love. That was from my mother.
Oh, nice.
So Eleanor is my mom's name, and she was a sweetheart, and it sounded like her sweetheart. So I wrote that for her.
Oh, I love that. And Bahia, we'll end with that one.
Yeah, Bahia was a song I wrote in the '90s when I was kind of getting out of playing a lot of more heady jazz music. I really fell in love with Brazilian music, and I got to spend a lot of time in Brazil. There was a club down there called Bourbon Street in Sao Paulo, and we used to go down there from New Orleans and play for like a month at a time. So I used to really get to know Brazil. It was another amazing thing. And so I fell in love with Brazilian music. So I wrote Bahia in that period, and I re-recorded it recently with Adam Levy and John Ellis. And,
amazing,
yeah, so
amazing.
Pretty song.
Have you? Is there a country you haven't played yet that you would like to go to and play?
Oh, I am dying to go to Japan. I've had a few chances and it never worked out. I've always wanted to go to Japan. So hopefully sometime in the near future I'll get to do that.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Wow. Well, I certainly hope you write that book. You must have incredible stories. And when that book comes out, I'd love to welcome you back on to the show and talk about some more stories. And it's truly been just such an honor and a huge thank you to Butch for just like seeing me at the Capitol, at the Palace Theater, like, oh my God, you got to have Glenn on the show. I'm like, okay, Butch, make it happen. So,
Yeah, I love Butch so much.
It just kind of sometimes organically happens, but time is the biggest gift we give one another. So I thank you for yours today, and I'm going to play your music for the rest of the hour, and I look forward to keeping up with all your travels. GlennPatscha.com. You can also go to Instagram. Is there anything else you'd like to say to us?
No, just a big thanks to everybody who still listens to music. Never stop. Keep on doing it.
And go
We're doing it for each other.
And support live music. Yeah. Support live music and buy from the artist directly when you can. That is my motto, and it makes a big difference. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your time and have a great tour in a couple of weeks. And I'll talk to you soon, and I hope to see you at the next Ola Bell gig.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. Take care, Glenn. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
91.3 WVKR, independent radio, Poughkeepsie, New York, the great Glenn Patscha. How fun was that? An extraordinary career. If you missed part of that or came in the middle of it, we will definitely be uploading this conversation this evening on both the YouTube channel, and we'll turn it into a podcast and all of that. Let's play some of his music, and we've got to start off with the track that he wrote for his mother. This one is called Mom, and this is Glenn Patscha here on 91.3 WVKR.
All the old paintings on the tombs do the sand dance, don't you know? They move too quick, oh way oh, falling down like a domino. All the bizarre men by the Nile got their money on a bet. Gold crocodiles, oh way oh, snap their teeth on your cigarette. Foreign types with their hookah pipes say hey oh, hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Walk like an Egyptian, walk like an Egyptian. Blonde waitresses take their trays, spin around as they cross the floor. They got the moves, oh way oh, drop your drink and they bring you more. All the school kids so sick of books, like the punk and the metal band. When the buzzer rings, oh way oh, walking like an Egyptian. All the kids in the market say hey oh, hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Walk like an Egyptian, walk like an Egyptian, walk like an Egyptian, walk like an Egyptian. If you wanna find all the cops hanging out in a donut shop, they sing and dance, oh hey oh, spin the club's groove down the block. All the cops in the donut shop say hey oh, way oh, way oh, way oh. Walk like an Egyptian, walk like an Egyptian, walk like an Egyptian, walk like an Egyptian.
91.3 WVKR, most definitely a different version of it, but it's so refreshing. Walk Like an Egyptian. And this is from Glenn Patscha with his band, The Big Bright. That's who we had just talked about, one of the bands. And the album called Sound and Vision. And this is where he is joined by Fiona McBain and also, oh my gosh, I lost the name. I'm sorry, I forgot the name. And Liz Tormes. There you go. It's Liz Tormes and Fiona McBain, who was with Glenn in Olabelle. So that's what we just heard, Walk Like an Egyptian. We also heard the track called Eleanor, which he told us was written for his mom. That was released on the album called Say It Quiet in 2021. Joining Glenn Patscha on the album is Adam Levy and John Ellis. And we got a little bit more time this hour. Let's play some more of this wonderful, incredible music. And a huge thank you again to today's guest, Glenn Patscha, who we're playing their music for the next few minutes, and then we'll start the 5 o'clock hour off, and we do have a pair of tickets to give away. So let us play some more music. This one, let's play Rosalie right now on 91.3 WVKR by Glenn Patscha.
This morning I awoke to distant thunder, thinking about my lost and lonely kin. Windrow left a sweet and smoky shadow, clouds as gray as slate were rolling in. Went down to the well for my water, singing to me through the trees. There I spied my dear departed daughter, my dear departed daughter, Rosalie. Rosalie, Rosalie, my dear departed daughter, Rosalie. Face was pale, her eyes as bright as diamonds. She stared at me as she swayed upon the breeze. My heart was still, my soul inside me crying. How I missed you, my sweet Rosalie. Rosalie, Rosalie. How I missed you, my sweet Rosalie, 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 my dear departed daughter, Rosalie. Rosalie.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Rosalie by Glenn Patscha was released in 2009. The album called Songs from the Jefferson Highway. Huge thank you to Glenn Patscha for being on my show today. This is really wonderful talking with him. By the way, if you want to look him up, the website Glenn with two N's, Patscha, Patscha. And he's got quite the discography. We basically barely touched on it. So honored to have him here. He'll be out on tour with Bonnie Raitt in just a few weeks and just finished his tour with Ola Bell. And yeah, really a special musician, that's for sure. Incredibly talented. So, yeah, we're going to keep the music flowing here. Let's start off by saying it is just about the top of the hour here, and you are tuned into Local Motion on 91.3 WVKR, Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. I am your host, Rita Ryan, here most each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m., bringing you music of the Hudson Valley. We talk to musicians that come here to perform, that live here, those coming to record, and that's kind of what this show is all about. We've been on air since July of 2015, and this is show number 412 for us. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to the YouTube channel under Local Motion on 91.3 WVKR, as well as giving a like and a follow to the Facebook page by the same name. And every hour that we don't have a guest, we start off by paying tribute to Tony Falco from the Falcon in Marlborough. He passed away October 27th of 2021. And among the many wonderful things he left and is part of his legacy is this playlist that he uploaded, a couple of them actually. I am still on the first playlist and pick a track in the order that he uploaded it each and every week. This week, we're going to listen to Madeline Perot, and let's take a listen to that right here and spend a few minutes just honoring the great Tony Falco from 91.3 WVKR.
I once held him in my arms, and he said he'd always stay, but I was cruel. I treated him like a fool, and I threw it all away. I once had mountains in the palm of my hand, rivers that ran through every day. But I must have been mad, never knew what I had, till I threw it all away. Love is all it is, it makes the world go round. Love and only love, it can't be denied. No matter what you think about it, you won't be able to do without it. Take a tip from one who's tried. So if you find someone who gives you all of his love, take it to your heart, don't let it stray. One thing is certain, you'll surely be hurt if you throw it all away. If you throw it all away. Love is all it is, it makes the world go round. Love and only love can't be denied. And no matter what you think about it, you won't be able to do without it. Take a tip from one who's tried. So if you find someone give you all of his love, take it to your heart, don't let it stray. One thing is certain, you'll surely be hurt
with me, yeah. She fall in love with you. I said, bad, bad, bad. It goes out every day. She goes out every time. She goes out every night. Betty, I said Betty. I said Betty. I said Betty, Betty, Betty.
.93 WVKR, the great blues player Joe Louis Walker. The album called Eclectic Electric. We heard Bad Betty. You can see Joe Louis Walker this Saturday night at the Falcon in Marlboro. Boy, that guy can kill a guitar. Joe Louis Walker at the Falcon this Saturday night. Tickets and, well, no, there are never tickets at the Falcon is what I'm trying to say. All you need to do is make a reservation to go or maybe show up. But, you know, if they sell out, they sell out. Liveatthefalcon.com. Check out their lineup for this weekend. And again, we just heard Joe Louis Walker with the track called Bad Betty. Getting us started was a track from Madeline Perot. I Threw It All Away. And that was on Tony Falco's playlist. And that's how we start off each and every hour here where we do not have a guest. So that's what we do each and every show. And speaking of Ola Bell, we had such a great conversation with Glenn Patscha regarding Ola Bell. One of the other members of Ola Bell is Byron Isaacs. And Byron Isaacs is currently also the bassist for the group called the Lumineers, who you may have heard of. Another group that Byron is part of is also called Lost Leaders. Lost Leaders have a new single out. It was just released last week, and I'm going to spin it right here, right now. We'll tell you where they're playing, and let's take a listen to this brand new music by Lost Leaders with Peter Cole and Byron Isaac. It's called Gone So Fast. 91.3 WVKR.
The dread, hunger, faded by the years. Cracks, misses, salted with our tears. Broken bones, broken bonds, are broken by our broken hearts. Catch in your throat, it's the burn of relief from the false impressions we worked hard to believe. The comic way we had to say all the things we should have hid away. It's better here on the other side than looking down from the top of the ride. Yeah, it's better here, and we never saw the difference. Flags, grievance, property disputes. The dog is mine, the cat is yours. We don't need to choose. There's too much noise in our heads to get the needle around the thread. It's better here on the other side than looking down from the top of the ride. Yeah, it's better here on the other side than looking down. And we never knew the difference.
101.3 WVKR, Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. This is quite a CD. We just heard the track called La Nevada, written by the infamous Gil Evans. And this album was sent to me by Pete Levin, who was part of his band for 16 years. And they have a new CD out. It's called Gil Evans Remembered, live at the Cutting Room, New York City. Alumni of the Gil Evans Orchestra reunite to celebrate the band's Monday night at Sweet Basil Era. Extraordinary performances here by a whole bunch of great people who are alumni. I want to read this press release to you, and this is from Pete Levin. It says, quote, Gil Evans first hired me in 1972. I was in the Gil Evans Orchestra for 16 years until his passing. Dozens of first-call musicians passed through the band during that time, several of them well-known solo artists. We toured every year. Europe, UK, Far East, South America, all over the U.S. When we weren't touring, we played every Monday night at the Sweet Basil Jazz Club in New York City's Greenwich Village. Band members from that period, especially those of us based in the New York City area, have been friends for decades. On a whim, in November of 2014, I booked a night at the Cutting Room in New York City and called 10 musicians from the band's 70s era to play. The whole set was from the repertoire we played with Gil. By the 70s, Gil was no longer interested in strict performances of his classic work, but rather wanted to see whether music could go through improvisation. Recalling those hundreds of Monday night gigs in Greenwich Village, the band was billed as the Monday Night Band. The 11 alumni quickly fell back into the freewheeling spirit of the 70s band. The 2-hour set was recorded and captured on video, then mixed and mastered into an album format. As of 2023, the recording had never been released publicly. In early 2024, interest in the band was reawakened. We headlined at 2 major European music festivals. The Monday Night Band name would mean little in Europe, so the group was rebilled as Gil Evans Remembered. With his new activity, the recording from 2014 was picked up by an independent record label. It's now scheduled for international distribution in September. Agents are exploring bookings for 2025 throughout Europe, Japan, the Northeast, and the West Coast, and of course, New York City, unquote, Pete Levin. So be on the lookout. What an extraordinary album. Thank you, Pete, for sending this my way. Again, Gil Evans Remembered, live at the Cutting Room. Check it out if you're into the jazz and the improv music. It's an extraordinary new album. We also heard a brand new single called Gone So Fast by Lost Leaders. They have a new album coming out on September 13th. The album will be titled Hungry Ghost. They'll be doing a CD release show at the Falcon in Marlborough on Friday, September 20. Make your reservations fast because they usually sell out pretty quickly. Lost Leaders at the Falcon on September 20th. And Lost Leaders is comprised of Peter Cole on guitar and Byron Isaacs on bass. And I believe they have Will Bryant on keys and also a drummer, usually Lee Falco, but I think Lee is out on tour. So Lost Leaders at the Falcon. And Byron Isaacs will be on the show at the end of October. So I look forward to having him back, and we'll talk all about Byron and his wonderful career as well. Guess what, folks? It's time for a ticket giveaway. Let's go support live music. Let's go see some music. And right now, if you call here at WVKR, courtesy of the Stissing Center in Pine Plains and us here at LocalMotion, you will win 1 pair of tickets for this Saturday night, August 17th, in Pine Plains to see the Wild Woods. Again, a pair of tickets up for grabs. Just give us a call. I will tell you a little bit about the Wild Woods. This is what it says. It says the Wild Woods are an enchanting folk Americana trio based in Lincoln, Nebraska, whose flowing songwriting tandem has been praised by Paste magazine as focused and charmingly human. The Wild Woods' delicate melodies and descriptive lyrics come from nature, love, experiences from the road, and growing up in Nebraska. So the Wild Woods will be right here in the Hudson Valley in Pine Plains at the Stissing Center this Saturday evening, August 17th. The show is at 7 p.m. If you can make it, please be able to go to the show. Don't just call to win tickets, but please be able to go to the show. Otherwise, you're taking away a pair of tickets from somebody that really could go and would want to go. All you have to do is give us a call right here, right now at 845-437-7178. You are going to be at this amazing venue. Check out the stissingcenter.org. It is beautifully restored. It's in the heart of Pine Plains. It's a very unique and a very special acoustically sound venue. The Stissing Center is in Pine Plains, New York, and we have a pair of tickets up for grabs for one lucky caller to go to this show this Saturday, August 17th at 7 p.m. Just give us a call at 845-437-7178. I'm going to play a track from the Wildwoods right now. This one's called Cherry Picking. And again, if you'd like to go, just give us a call at 845-437-7178. That's 845-437-7178 to see the Wildflowers this Saturday night. And let's take a listen to them right here, right now on 91.3.
With my honey out picking cherries, feeling happy as I might ever be. Her hands are red like roses blooming in February. Carrying a pail filled with cherry wine, the ones we picked ourselves will do fine. I'll fill your glass infinitely if you will fill mine. Oh, darling, take me by the hand. You might be my sweet salvation. Hold my trembling soul inside of yours as we crawl through open doors. Darling, tell me to go. Say the words and I will follow you through darkness each and every day. Put it in a locket that you wear there in front of your heart. Ooh, oh, 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 oh. With my honey out picking cherries, laughing about all the dirt on our knees, climbing trees so quietly so we won't wake the bees. Driving home at 10:15, wake up in the morning just to do it again. She turns to me and she says, I'm lucky just to be your friend. Oh, darling, take me by the hand. You might be my sweet salvation. Hold my trembling soul inside of yours as we crawl through open doors. Darling, tell me to go. Say the words and I will follow you through darkness each and every day. Keep it in a locket that you wear there in front of your heart, or your wrist or your arm. I'll be your unlucky charm, and are my lips too red from the wine? Cherries or berries, and I'll bury another bottle with you. Oh. Salvation, hold my trembling soul inside of yours. Darling, tell me to go. Say the words and I will follow you through darkness each and every day. Through darkness each and every day. Through darkness each and every day. That you wear there in front of your heart.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. I still have a pair of tickets up for grabs. Did you like them? Do you want to go out and see some live music? Just give us a call here. The Wild Woods will be at the Stissing Center in Pine Plains this Saturday, August 17th. And if you'd like to go, there are a pair of tickets up for grabs. The Stissing Center is in Pine Plains, and the Wild Woods will be there this Saturday, August 17th. The show starts at 7 p.m. And all you have to do is give us a call right here, right now at 845-437-7178. Again, 845-437-7178. Let's keep the music flowing right now with Sal Cataldi, also known as Spaghetti Eastern Music, right here on 91.3.
uncertain, my back starts hurting as soon as I get out of bed. I listen to the news station, trouble in the whole nation, airplane passes by, it's gotta be a mile high, reminds me that I'm not a bird, but there's a side of me, one part prisoner and one part free. There's only so much any man can be. We all want another life, another 50 years to see the outback and the Himalayas. Feel that Arctic wind around your ears. We all want another life. I'm picking up my paycheck. Well, how am I gonna make it? How am I ever getting out of this hole? I'm stuck in a time frame, caught up in the mundane. I wanna learn dancing, motorbike riding, maybe have a kid or two or three. But there's a side of me, one part prisoner and one part free. There's only so much any man can be. We all want another life, another 50 years. You see the outback and the Himalayas. Feel that Arctic wind around your ears. We all want another life. I wanna try acting, whitewater rafting, be a total failure, backpacking in Australia, learn to play the sitar, get better on the guitar, try some illegal substances. There's a side of me, one part prisoner and one part free. There's only so much any man can be. We all want another life. There's so much to know, so many places that you want to go. You've hardly got the time to stop and say hello. We all want another life. Sail the Baltic Sea, ride an elephant to Timbuktu, walk this land from sea to shining sea. We all want another life.
WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. James Maddock, Another Life. Great singer-songwriter. Plays all over the place and will be right here in Beacon this Friday night at the legendary Town Crier. You can visit jamesmaddock.net, and also, better yet, go see him perform live and in person, towncrier.com for tickets and info to see James there this Friday night. And that's town spelled with an E, crier.com. And you can follow him on social media too. I just saw a post by him. He's going to be recording a new album and is inviting some of his fans to join him during the recording. So if you follow James Maddock on Instagram or Facebook, you will learn all about what he's got going on with this new album. We also heard Sal Cataldi, also known as Spaghetti Eastern Music, the track called As Tears Go By, and on vocals there is his daughter. It's a really beautiful song. Sal Cataldi will be performing this Sunday afternoon at the beautiful Opus 40 in Socrates, New York, opus40.org. It's an afternoon concert, and it's a beautiful, extraordinary place. It's a sculpture park. If you're not familiar with it, check out opus40.org. It's a seasonal venue, great eclectic events happening there, music happening. And again, this Sunday, you can check out Sal Cataldi on at Opus 40. And we're going to keep the music flowing now. This gentleman has got a few shows coming up, including tonight in Woodstock at Colony. Let's take a listen to Brian Mitchell here on 91.3 WVKR.
Stand up, you can't get up off your seat. The music's no longer playing, but you're still tapping your feet. This joint looks familiar, but you're not sure where you are. You thought you'd been everywhere, but you never left this bar. Take a look around, son, your friends are all gone. You want to keep on going, there's really nothing going on. Take one last look, I think you finally know this party is over. It was over a long time ago. A long time ago. You called up all your friends, see if anyone's still up, but nobody ever answers, 'cause they've all had enough. Find a new place to go, maybe meet somebody new. You can tell all those stories about the things you used to do. And take a look around, son, your friends are all gone. You want to keep on going, there's really nothing going on. And take one last look, I think you finally know this party is over. It was over a long time ago. What do you see? The reflection don't look nothing like the man you used to be. You find there is the end, there's nowhere left to go. No one around here cares enough to want to tell you to go home. And take a look around, son, your friends are all gone. You want to keep on going, there's really nothing going on. Take one last look, I think you finally know this party is over. It was over a long time ago. A long time ago. This party was over a long time ago. It's time to go. It's time to go home.
You think that I should know, but I think that I should not. You think that I might go, but I'm not leaving the spot. I never get your jokes, but I like the way you move. Falling in and out with you like we have something to prove.
91.3 WVKR Simi Stone, self-titled album released in 2015. We heard Natural Grace. Simi Stone's going to be playing a rare but wonderful show this Saturday at Colony in Woodstock. Joining her, Danny Bloom, Gail Ann Dorsey, Ben Porowski, Travis Shook, Story Littleton, and Philip Marshall. Ooh, heavy hitters. colonywoodstock.com for tickets and information to see the wonderful, talented Ms. Simi Stone this Saturday night, August 17th. We also heard from Brian Mitchell, the album called Songs from the Lower East Side. He's got a couple of gigs coming up, including tonight also at Colony in Woodstock, colonywoodstock.com. And you can see him. I'm just pulling up the picture that I took so I can tell you where else Brian Mitchell is going to be playing. And he's got quite a few shows. There he is. So Brian Mitchell tonight at the Colony. He'll be Saturday at Volunteers Day, this Saturday the 17th at 3 p.m. He'll be at Tinker Street Tavern at the Bearsville Complex Friday, August 23rd. And Hope Rocks Benefit Saturday, August 24th. And a very special show at the Falcon on August 31st with James Maddock and Sean Pelton. Sean Pelton, the drummer with SNL, extraordinary drummer. I always love seeing those guys together. So that should be a really great show. All of them will be. Brian Mitchell, music.com. You'll also find him on social media. All right, now it's time for musical happenings. We're getting towards the end of the show here, and this is what we do each and every time we are close to the end. We list a bunch of in alphabetical order. We list a whole bunch of venues in the area and hope that you go support live music and these amazing musicians that we have here in the area that play. So let's start off with the Bardavon and UPAC. Bardavon.org. September 28th at the Woodstock Playhouse, the legendary Jack DeJohnette solo piano. Bearsville Theater in Woodstock, also at bearsvilletheater.com. August 16th, a psychedelic party with Nels Klein, Marco Benevento, and others. This Saturday, the 17th, the Bearsville Art Festival. August 18th, Fred Armisen. August 22nd, the Dirty Dozen Brass Band. Bethel Woods Center and at bethelwoods.org. August 16th, Leonard Skinnard and ZZ Top. August 18th, the music of CSN. August 21st, Melissa Etheridge and the Indigo Girls. Broadway in Beacon. It's a musical theater open mic at Reserva Wine Bar. August 28th, info at Eventbrite and Instagram. Caramore in Katona, also at caramore.org. August 16th, Mokumba. Uncle Chief in Brewster and at unclechief.com. Thursday, Floodgates. Friday, Eric Binder. Saturday, Steve Shapiro. Sunday, Brazilian Jazz Brunch with Eduardo McCory. Cafe Lena in Saugerties, also at cafelena.org. Tonight, Rainbow Girls. Thursday, Joe Pug. Friday, Ann Hampton Calloway. Saturday, Rory Block. And on Sunday, Martin Sexton. City Winery in the Hudson Valley in Montgomery, New York. Info and tickets at citywinery.com. August 16th, Comedy with Liam Dalton. August 18th, Legends Fest. Colony in Woodstock and colonywoodstock.com. The Colony Beer Garden is open. Please visit the website for all the info to shows there. Tonight in the Ballroom, Brian Mitchell and Friends. Thursday, Sunny Rock Pro Jam. Friday, Back to the Garden, 1969. Saturday, Simi Stone with Lila Blue opening. Sunday, Laszlo Lang. And every Monday is an open mic at Colony. The Falcon in Marlborough and live at thefalcon.com. Thursday, Glenn David Andrews. Friday, Yellow Man. Saturday, Joe Louis Walker. And Sunday, Scary Burton at the Falcon. Howland Chamber Music Circle at Howland Cultural Center in Beacon. Opening concert September 15th with Brentano String Quartet. Jazz Forum in Tarrytown, also at jazzforumarts.org. This Friday and Saturday, 2 shows each night featuring Bob Baldwin Group. The Local in Saugerties and thelocalsocrates.com. Opening night of this next opening night is September 20th with Sidey Sam and Afro Flamingo. September 21st, Toombs Dixon, and September 22nd, Opera. Maverick Concerts in Woodstock. Tickets and info, maverickconcerts.org. August 17th, World Music with Steve Gorn, Vinay Desai, and Shamir Chatterjee. August 18th, Chamber Music with Isidore String Quartet. The Stissing Center in Pine Plains and thestissingcenter.org. August 17th, the Wildwoods. August 30th, Northern Duchess Symphony Orchestra. Tarrytown Music Hall in Tarrytown and at tarrytownmusichall.org. August 18th, Five for Fighting. August 25, Sarah Jaros. The Town Crier in Beacon and towncrier.com. Every Thursday is an open mic. Friday on the Salon stage, Ryan Lee Crosby. On the main stage, James Maddock. Saturday on the Salon stage, Kevin Cronin. On the main stage, Manticore, tribute to ELP. Sunday brunch with Alex Pringendas, and Sunday evening, North Country Band. Last but not least, Opus 40 in Saugerties. Tickets and info, opus40.org. August 17th, the Woodstock 94 celebration with Paul Luke Band and Joey Eppard. And Sunday afternoon concert with Sal Cataldi, also known as Spaghetti Eastern Music. That's what I got, folks. That's what I got. We've got Dr. J in the house, so stay tuned with that. A huge thank you to Glenn Patscha, my guest today. If you missed part of that interview, I'll be uploading it on the YouTube channel tonight. Please consider subscribing to Local Motion on 91.3 WVKR, as well as giving a like and a follow on the Facebook page by the same name. I will be back. I will not be back next week. I will be back next week. I'm not here in 2 weeks. I'll be back next week with a great Rachel Yamagata, who will be joining me in person before she goes out on her tour to the Far East. 2 weeks, no show. 3 weeks with Scott Sherrard from Little Feat. In 4 weeks, we'll be joined by Carl Gutowski. A whole lineup. We're fully booked and through October and booking into November. So kind of crazy, but that's the way it is right here, right now. So we're going to go out with this band. They'll be playing Friday at Caramore. They're an incredible band. They've been touring. Mo Kumba is their name. This album is called Rising Tide. Yambi is the track. And then stay tuned for Dr. J here with Irie Groove, and I'll be back next week. Until next time, I wish you all peace.